My mission is tie up loose ends. Explain those things which were supposedly unexplainable. Every grandmaster, every incredible martial artist was at one point in time a stupid white belt. And they made all the dumb mistakes stupid white belts did. You can't tell me that Remy Prestes didn't have his stick down and got conked in the head when he was a beginner. The guy did not spring from Zeus's head fully armed and fully skilled. The guy trained. He understood. Wally J will have told you about when he was alive about losses that his judo team had had way back in the day before he started working small circle jiu-jitsu. Every one of these guys came up. So it is attainable. It is attainable. Now, in my estimation, there's no reason why somebody can't attain it. But the key thing is they have to understand it. It's hard to accept when you're getting older, especially when, nobody ever told me when I was a kid that you're still going to have a mind of a young man as you get older. I always viewed old people as old people, the crowd, and you think they're demented and so forth. And I thought 62, oh, criminy sakes, so old, so old. Well, I'm 62 years old, and the body is wearing because I put it through the ringer, but I'm not old. Now, I've had the luck to have gone hands-on with some very, very good masters. So the thing is I know it can be achieved. I know it can be achieved. So what we did today was what I call effortless martial arts. Shintai Kyosei Jutsu, the art of body management. And how can somebody throw somebody down or take them down or lock them and it seems like just ease. Well, what I isolated it down to was structure. How do you manipulate the guy's structure? Which means you backtrack and you go, oh good, how does the body move? Well, let's get familiar with how the body moves. So all the warm-up exercises I did was just to show you how the body moves. Now, if we take this and add that and we take this, the body's going to respond in a certain way, such as if you ever watch somebody doing limbo, and I mentioned this in the seminar, but just for the sake of the interview, people who weren't here, when you watch people doing the limbo, they're going onto their bar, as they bend, as they put their hips forward, what are their knees doing? Their knees are coming way forward this way, so as to counterbalance the bend of the back this way. Well, if you're throwing somebody, if you manipulate the knees so they bend, it's easier to bend the back. Which means that instead of me trying to physically force him, he's and down. Or how to project something. We had not enough time to learn projecting techniques. How do you pitch somebody straight into a wall from 12 feet away if you're not super strong? Well, there's alignment. There's releasing the friction of the other person's foot by pushing in a certain direction. There's using your entire body. When do you actually add the arms to the stepping? Blah, 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 blah. What's the sequencing? And then, person's going head first into the wall. This has been my research. Effortless martial arts. Why? Because it raises the ethics level of the martial artist. Anybody can hit somebody. You can teach anybody to beat on somebody in a matter of minutes. Simplest thing in the world. Can you teach effective self-defense where you cause the least amount of damage to the other person? That takes some skill. And that takes, for lack of a better term, compassion for the human condition. And I'm not a touchy-feely kind of guy. Don't get me wrong. I'm not, we are the world and I'm singing to the song in the radio and blah, blah, blah. I'll switch the stations, listen to some jazz or something. But there is a responsibility that one has when they have certain skills. Good case in point, Bram Frank, who I mentioned earlier in Modern Is, he likes the blade, okay? And how he uses the blade, surprisingly, if you can think of how one would use the blade compassionately, he does what he calls biomechanical cutting. If you watch a lot of YouTube things and they're doing blade stuff, you'll see in the stomach and then across the neck, and you're doing this and you're cutting the guy and you're stabbing him, and you've killed him 15 times by the time you're done with your combination. Okay. That's killing a guy. Pure and simple. Whether it's self-defense or it's murder, it's killing a guy. Now, what does Bram do? He engages in what he calls biomechanical cutting. If you have a knife here, he cuts here, that releases the muscles, knife falls out, fight's over. You cut here, arm's useless. Good, they can sew that up. They can sew this up. You didn't kill the guy. So he approaches his art from a higher ethic level. The masters who are like unspeakably awesome, you know, you get Ueshiba in Aikido. You get Professor Cheng from Cheng Man-Ching from Taiji, you know. Push, fling, press, you know, not bang, bang, bang. You know, it wasn't ground and pound. They elevated above that. So it can be done. Now, how do they do it? Well, it's not mystical. It's not, you know, the inner workings of Qigong, etc. I'm not reading the guy's Qi, blah, 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 blah. You know, if you can do that at 3 a.m. with a hangover, okay, I'll start believing it. But by the use of body dynamics, it is explainable. These are loose ends. These are loose ends I like to tie up. Why? It's what, you know, it's what the martial arts has given to me. So can I give something back?